Do you remember 1961? JFK brought a youthful style to the White House. The first astronauts went into space, and we all watched on black and white TV. Most agree life was simpler then. Certainly our culture was far more predictable. Everyone knew the script. Young people finished high school and either went to college or got a job. For some, their first job was in the military. With or without college, readily available full-time employment meant that independence was just around the corner. They would find their own apartment and start to save for the day when they married and began a family. That was 50 years ago. Then, if you had an adult son or daughter, the grown child typically lived near you. After the child married, most married young, the young couple often would join the whole clan for Sunday dinner and for holidays at your home, though otherwise the young couple would live their own lives. As parents, now and then you might have watched the grandchildren, and when you retired, the grown children made their pilgrimage to Florida or California to see you, usually with grandkids in tow. Everyone knew their role and played it quite well. If life was not always happy, at least it was stable. 50 years ago, this book could not have been written. But things have changed during the past 5 decades, and the predictable is no more. It began with the tumultuous 60s that overturned a way of life Americans had taken for granted. The birth control pill came first, followed by legal abortion. Together they fueled the so-called sexual revolution. Vietnam and political intrigue led to Watergate and a disillusioned public. Divorce became commonplace, and the traditional family diminished in importance as our culture became more mobile and diverse. Nowhere have these changes been more poignantly felt than by parents of those amazing and puzzling young people we call Generation Y, or the Millennials, or the Mosaics, as well as some of the younger Gen Xers. Among the changes affecting the contour of the family circle are the following. Number 1. Adult children may live more than 100 miles away, often out of state. Number 2, or adult children increasingly may be moving back to the nest, sometimes with their own children. Number 3, many adult children don't marry until their late 20s or their 30s. Number 4, some adult children have live-in partners of the opposite sex, sharing their lives and sometimes their checking accounts, but not marrying. They're convinced marriage is too risky, at least for a while. Number 5, adult children may seem less driven than their parents. It is easy enough to try to lay blame for the changing, unsettled times solely on uncontrollable factors. Yet many of today's boomer parents have to look no further than their own experiences in the 60s and 70s, and often the actions of their own parents. For it was then that some of their parents no longer felt compelled to stay in marriages that were not bringing them the emotional satisfaction they desired. Many young people decided that sex was too beautiful to be kept for marriage, that multiple partners were the wave of the future. The pleasures of recreational drug use and sexual experimentation drew many, and social stigmas waned. Today, 40% of our young adults grew up as children of divorce. The Gen Xers, in particular, were labeled latchkey children because they had keys to their homes after school as their parents were away working. Many of these children were more often shuffled and managed than parented. The millennial generation